Do you regret ever getting involved in...
I didn't have a choice. It got bad when I was about 15 years old.
Help me raise $100,000 as soon as I can so I can move to an undisclosed location where I am safe. They had cops come and check for a rope in my garage saying I wanted to hang myself.
And she eventually said, look, they are little people who should not be at an adult party.
We intend to name people in these lawsuits. We're not going to do it in interviews. We're not going to do it without doing our due diligence, because obviously, these types of allegations are very hurtful to people.
And of those 8, how many seemed to be potentially minors?
2 to 3, possibly 3.
25 new lawsuits detailing Diddy's alleged sexual abuse of minors have just been filed. A-list celebrities, including 50 Cent, are now speaking out about how Diddy would coerce young stars like 13-year-old Justin Bieber and 9-year-old Aaron Carter to commit sexual acts. Hollywood's darkest secrets are being revealed in what is turning out to be the scandal of the century. Stay tuned with us as we peel back the layers of 50 Cent's recent interview revealing Diddy's horrifying connection with Aaron Carter's death. End quote.
I go on my Twitter and I see people saying, you look like you have AIDS, you should go die. I don't understand how I dedicated 22 years of my life to my fans, and now they turn on me.
Do you regret ever getting involved in...
I didn't have a choice. It got bad when I was about 15 years old.
Carter rose to fame as a child, releasing his self-titled debut album at the age of just 9, and later becoming one of the most successful music stars of all time. On one hand, Aaron was on his way to becoming a legend, allegedly making over $500 million at one point. But on the other hand, Aaron was being manipulated and assaulted by the rampant sexual abuse culture in Hollywood. Allegedly, even Aaron's parents knew about his struggles with mental health and abuse, but they refused to take action.
Aaron Carter begged for help in front of the world. He begged for financial support to help get him a private security team to keep him alive. He said on numerous occasions, if anything happens to me, I promise you, I am not suicidal. And no one said anything.
Silence breaker for my brother, who is a and they're after my life. My whole family is after my life, and they're setting me up. And Sony Records owes me $3.5 million, and they don't want to pay me, and it would be in their better interest, just like Michael told me. They owe me money, and they're trying to off. And I'm begging you and I'm pleading you, help me raise $100,000 as soon as I can so I can move to an undisclosed location where I am safe. They had cops come and check for a rope in my garage saying I wanted to hang myself.
One person who was aware of Aaron's struggles was Justin Bieber. Justin had faced the same abuse struggles as Aaron, so he knew just what the young star was going through. Justin had signed with Scooter Braun at the age of 13 and had immediately been handed over to Diddy by his manager, Usher. Hollywood loves preying on children, and Justin Bieber and Aaron Carter unfortunately turned out to be victims of one of the most prolific abusers of all time.
I was flown out to Atlanta by a manager. His name's Scooter Braun. Flown out to Atlanta just to meet with him and meet different producers and different people. I was actually going to meet Jermaine Dupri at his studio. And who rolls up? Usher in his Range Rover. It rolls up, and I was like, "Is that who I think it is?" And Scooter was like, "Yeah." And so I ran up to him. And I was like, "Usher, I love your songs. You want me to sing you one?" And he was like, "Let's just go inside, little buddy. It's cold out." So the politest possible way he could say no, he did. And I was like, wow, he just turned me down. And I was a little disappointed. He had to go into a studio session, so I was like, whatever. And a week later, he actually watched my videos with my manager and was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I let him sing? So flew me back to Atlanta where I got to meet him again, and he wanted to sign me. But there was something else.
Justin Timberlake, right?
Yes, Justin Timberlake also wanted to sign me. It was like kind of like, what happened was Justin Timberlake and Usher both went into a ring and boxed it out. And the outcome was Usher. I think it was a TKO.
Diddy got legal guardianship of Justin Bieber for 48 hours back in 2009, and ever since then, Justin has been stuck in a downward spiral. Who knows what Diddy did during those 48 hours? The one time Justin tried to bring up what Puffy and he did during that time, Diddy shut him up on national TV. If that wasn't strange enough, there's also footage of Justin Bieber literally shivering after Diddy met up with him and seemingly pressured him into giving his phone number.
We've become friends in a strange way, you know?
Like Robin Big.
Yeah, it's like... Exactly.
I'm big and you're Robin.
Yeah. No, I mean, to a lot of us, he's like a little brother. You know what I'm saying? He's not afraid to call and ask for advice. He's somebody that, in the industry-wise, the record industry is a strong family, and he's somebody that, you know, we definitely have our arms around, and we want to protect him because he's such genuinely a nice person besides his talent. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the greatest kids that you could ever know.
Justin, You know, Diddy bought his son a Bentley. Maybe, you know, he could buy you one also while you're out.
He got me a Lamborghini.
Oh, well, that's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last time.
He had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
Apparently not.
Some things, everything ain't for everybody. What's up, man? You good?
What Justin Bieber and Aaron Carter went through wasn't their fault. It was the duty of the people around them to keep them safe. But rather than keeping them safe, these are the very people who led them to danger. Allegedly, Usher was the one who handed Justin Bieber over to Diddy, and without him, Diddy would have never been able to abuse Justin.
What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, young brother, everything's good?
Everything's
Selling
great.
out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh?
No,
you ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, you know, through all my, partners and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But you never really got my number, so.
Right.
My
Okay.
number?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you my number.
Yeah.
It's 55.
Allegedly, Usher was continuing a cycle of abuse that started with him. Back when Usher was 13 years old, he was sent to live with Diddy at Puffy's Flavor Camp. In Usher's own words, Diddy exposed him to sexual activities that he didn't understand. The most shocking thing, however, is what Usher said about his son in connection to Diddy.
Actually, someone made reference to the fact that Diddy trying to get at Bieber the way he was trying to get at Bieber was looking a little predatory. And then Usher came in and discovered it and managed him and got custody of him and promised to look after him. And then he sent him to the diddler.
Weirdly enough, Usher's alleged abuse didn't end when he grew up. Instead, Usher and Diddy remained close even as adults. Leaked footage from a Diddy party actually showed Diddy and Usher together. Believe it or not, Diddy actually confessed on camera that he slept with Usher.
Moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you
New
over
York
to
City.
something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's what it
Camp.
was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really.
Come on.
But hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle,
right?
And I saw it, and it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans. Jodeci, Mary J. Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time, you know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem. I had like,
what
like
a
living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
This isn't a harmless joke. Usher and Diddy have long been rumored to be intimately involved with each other, and several sources close to both of them have confirmed this multiple times. In a recent episode of The Art of Dialogue, Diddy's ex-bodyguard and head of security, Gene Deal, detailed how he saw Diddy groom Usher and use him for his own twisted pleasure.
We want to thank you. Come here. Don't sit on the bed at night. No homo. No, just don't get close to the bed. Don't get close. But it's just like, yo, we want to thank you for hosting the thing, man. It's been a pleasure. You didn't have to do it, and you did it.
No. I definitely didn't have to do it. I definitely didn't have to. First and foremost, I'm not getting in the bed. Shout out to him and what he did. I'm just gonna, if we can, let's just put the camera a little this way, just so we're not. I don't want my shot to even, I don't want it to come close to the bed at all. I should look like he fresh off a goddamn plane. I should.
Fresh off the garden stage. That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, pause, but like, check this out. Back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted Flakes because he used to always get up early with me. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world. And
what the fuck did Puff just say? Nobody's gonna acknowledge this but me. Puff just said we used to wrestle over the Frosted Flakes. And we're streaming live. That was stupid. Listen, that was fucking stupid.
Listen, we're having a good time. Your usher made it.
As we peel back the layers and take a deeper look at this maze of lies, we see that there are victims at every corner. From some of the biggest A-listers in Hollywood being victims themselves, it's no surprise that everyone has been silent. Who knows just how deep these lies run and who is the mastermind behind this sick tragedy?
But how dare you say a man that groomed you, you gonna give him a pass? Bruh, you know I know. Let me reframe you on something.
In the midst of the entire situation, at a time when new celebrities are being exposed every day for their relations with Diddy, only one big-name celebrity is speaking out, and that's 50 Cent. 50 has been against Puffy since the early 2000s, and has even gone as far as to say that Diddy is actually the one responsible for the murder of Biggie Smalls.
Welcome to the family, John.
Allegedly, Diddy was even romantically interested in 50 Cent and invited him out to go shopping, but 50 said no. Ever since then, 50 has tried to avoid Diddy, especially because of his connection to the deaths of Tupac and Biggie. End quote.
And I want to start with Tania Wallace, who claims she's been at a freak off and said she saw children, and it was hard for her to say it.
It was very hard for her to say it, Ashley. So what she said was that she was flown out from LA to Miami by the Saudi prince. And they ended up eventually on Star Island at one of Diddy's parties. She says, among many other things, she goes into detail. This, she says, happened in 2018. She says that she walked into the house and there was a cluster of adults around what she described as little people. And they were dressed up as Japanese Barbies. I forgot the name. It's Harak something. You can help me out here. It's a certain type of Barbie. Anyway.
I know the name, but I've forgotten it. But go ahead.
So she explained that that they were just clustered around these little people, and I kept pushing her, and she eventually said, look, they are little people who should not be at an adult party. And I pushed her, and it was apparent what she was saying is they were minors. Now, she didn't see anything specific that was going on with them other than that adults were kind of huddled around them. But she told just a wild story about what was going on at the house, even at 7 a.m, that this thing apparently raged all night long.
It's amazing. TMZ always gets such great scoops, and this one might be one of your best as well. You got a hold of one of the Freak Off tapes. Your producers have seen it. The description is, and I'll quote, "It's porn directed by Diddy himself." And a male sex worker really sort of walks through what happened in the experiences that he had. They didn't sound illegal, but they sure seem to comport with a lot of the other stories that have been told.
Yeah. So this was a threesome. What you would ask me about earlier about Tania Wallace, she said there were more than 100 people at that party, including at least 4 celebrities. But this, what you're talking about now, was a threesome, and that's something that the U.S. attorney even referenced, and his lawyer in an earlier documentary we did. He was describing threesomes. He says it was all consensual. So yes, what we're told is that this male sex worker was flown out to various locations over a couple of years: Miami, New York, Los Angeles, and one other.
I is no one except 50 speaking out about the abuse that went on behind closed doors. Are they silent, or is it something bigger? Allegedly, celebrities are scared to speak out about Diddy because of the dirt he has on them. Diddy had a habit of recording everything that went on at his parties and using the footage to blackmail people later. Even if his guests hadn't done anything, he would drug them and make them think they were doing something illegal.
Wait a minute. There were other people who were signaling to us that something was very wrong with Diddy, and they were virtually just being laughed out of the room. One person who was always anti-Diddy and was always speaking about Diddy as a problematic person was 50 Cent. And it turns out that it's just been announced that he's created a docu-series on Netflix. I can't wait to see this. And he is saying that it's a complex narrative that spans decades, which we are obviously realizing this, which should really make it clear to you that Hollywood is a tremendous evil. Everybody colluded to protect these secrets. They all were aware of it, and few spoke out. So Netflix is producing the docuseries from Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent, about the charges of sex trafficking and racketeering, as well as sexual assault and violent abuse allegations against Diddy Combs. And Alexandria Stapleton will be directing the project. I will be definitively watching this. They describe this as a story with significant human impact. It's a complex narrative spanning decades, not just the headlines or the clips that we have seen so far. And 50 Cent is exclusively speaking to Variety, saying that he remains steadfast in his commitment to give a voice to the voiceless and to present authentic and nuanced perspectives. While the allegations are disturbing, we urge all to remember that Sean Combs' story is not the full story of hip-hop and its culture. We aim to ensure that individual actions do not overshadow the culture's broader contributions. Now, I would actually beg to differ. I would beg to differ on this because, like I said, I read that book, Hollywood Babylon, and as it traced, and again, that was movie culture, so they were kind of getting into the beginning of film, silent films, and making it clear that it was the carnies, the carnival people, the freaks that established Hollywood, and they were creating characters, and these people were drug addicted, sex addicted, and essentially they turned them into stars on screen because in many ways, they wanted to emulate, mock, and destroy the church.
Now that names are finally being exposed, everyone who was at Diddy's parties, including celebrities, athletes, producers, and even British royalty, are worried about what the tapes might show. Victims come forward, new lawsuits naming Diddy as their defendant are also being filed. Houston-based lawyer Tony Busby has allegedly filed over 25 cases against Diddy, and according to his firm, more than 1,000 victims have come forward and are being authenticated. Most of these victims are actually minors who were coerced and manipulated by Diddy and other executives at Bad Boy Records.
You saw what he did to Cassie. With the kicking, the punching. They saw what they did to Cassie. They know that nobody in America liked that. So now, these people are represented by a brand. Whether it's something about the music, clothing, movies, they not gonna come out and speak on nothing that has anything to do with them, and they praying that they not on the tape doing crazy stuff, being oiled up in the whole 9 yards. They praying. So until the feds say, hey, yo, listen here. We got you on, hey buddy, we got you on this tape, and girl looked like she was pretty young.
Necessarily even involved in any of the things that are alleged by the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Filings are in fact public, and when you name somebody in a lawsuit, The press is going to pick it up, and we're aware of that. So we're going to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's. And I expect that there will be some people named in these lawsuits that will raise some eyebrows.
He is just one of the people who will be implicated when the tapes taken from his Miami mansion come forward. According to several criminal lawyers, the raid at Diddy's mansion was merely a cover-up for retrieving tapes that would implicate ex-presidents like Obama and Trump. This conspiracy involves some of the most famous people in the world, and it's only a matter of time before all secrets are revealed.
Supporters of Sean Diddy Combs have come forward since our interview with Natanya Rubin, and you remember we talked to her. She says that Diddy is the one who shot her at that club. But the supporters are now saying that Diddy didn't even want to take a plea deal in the 1999 club shooting because he was, quote, so sure of his innocence. They also said that information from someone who is claiming things that aren't true, who's looking for a payday. They said payday is not going to change that. Natanya Rubin joins us once again now. Natanya, we appreciate your time again. First of all, I want to know your reaction to these people now around Diddy who are coming out in support of him, saying that he was so sure of his innocence and that that's the reason he didn't take a plea deal in the case that you were involved in where you got shot.
So first and foremost, Brian, thank you for having me back on. And I give very little credibility to what they're saying because while everyone else is Monday morning quarterbacking, I am the survivor. And it is my assertion wholeheartedly that Mr. Combs was inappropriately charged originally. His charges should have mirrored that of Mr. Jamal Shine Barrow. He should have been charged with attempted murder, a reckless endangerment, criminal possession of a weapon, and firing that weapon in an open environment.
And you bring up Shine. One of the questions that I've gotten several times since the last time we spoke to you is that people want to know whether you believe that Shine was convicted of a crime he didn't commit because he is the one who ultimately...
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Jamal Shine Barrow admitted on the Combat Jack podcast back in the days, rest in peace to Combat Jack, he admitted that he fired his gun and shot Julius Jones in the shoulder. Mr. Combs did not have accountability for what he did. I physically, who better to tell you what happened than the person who got shot smack dab in between my eyes?
Back then, Natanya, do you feel like they had made up their mind about who they were going to blame for this before they even talked to you, or?
Listen, here's what I know beyond a shadow of a doubt. Respectability politics. He was a notable figure. He was a multimillionaire. He had popularity, fame, all of a perfect storm of you get away with it. We know the country we live in. Unfortunately, those who have the money can oftentimes get away with their crimes. Unfortunately, and those who don't have the same social ranking are overlooked. And that's what has happened. By the grace of God, God saw fit to keep me whole, keep my mind sane and functioning, and keep me alive for such a time as this. And make no mistake, the gravity of the danger and the peril that I face and that I'm exposed to for having my say now, for what was done to me 24 years ago is not lost on me. But let me make clear beyond a shadow of a doubt. I am not now, nor have I ever been suicidal. I love life. And I'm grateful that God spared my life back on that fateful day on December 27th, 1999. I'm a living miracle.
How do you feel about the situation that Diddy, let's say something else is going on. They didn't raid, they searched with a warrant his premises on the West Coast, right? They searched his premises on the East Coast in Florida, right? On the same property, there was a second mansion. They didn't touch that one. Why not? When they walked out of there, they had a small trash bag and a medium-sized cardboard box. What was it they seized that would fit into those items? I have a sneaking suspicion from my background in criminal defense.
And those statements include descriptions of what the witness says he saw on those tapes. So I asked him about that, and he answered what he could, given the limitations imposed on him after testifying before the grand jury. Out of those 8 videos, 8 celebrities, 6 men and 2 women, how many of those 8 celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage?
2 males.
2 males. And of those 8 celebrities, how many of them were intoxicated or under the influence of drugs?
This is going to be all speculation. I just want to preface it by he wouldn't know if
Appear
they
to be.
were. Right.
Sure.
Appear to
Let
be.
me
Right.
rephrase it.
Based on, yes.
Understand. Out of the 8 celebrities who were recorded having intimate relations with Sean Combs, how many of them appear to be either inebriated or intoxicated or under the influence?
All of them. All of them.
Out of those 8, how many appear to be potentially victimized? How many might have been victimizing?
I think all, to be honest, all.
Were victims
They
or
victims.
were perpetrating?
Victims.
They were all 8 were victimized,
Yeah,
meaning this was happening to them and they were inebriated.
Right. Not knowing, I guess, how much proof it was in it, what they was doing.
And of those 8, how many seemed to be potentially minors?
2 to 3, possibly 3.
FJM Records.
Mm-hmm. You made a lot of allegations, right? Are you expected to eventually turn those things over, or?
Well, that's what we're going to head over to do now. So we have a hearing now to determine what we're going to do in terms of what documents we'll have to turn over and what documents we do not.
So why were you in court today?
Just to give testimony to the grand jury. He was subpoenaed by the court, so as we all know, if you don't answer a subpoena, the marshals will come to your house as they came to his house and they will bring you here. So that's why we're here today.
I know you can't mention celebrities per se. You did mention some in the interview. So just to clarify, you can back that up with actual factual footage.
We have, it's things that we have, but we got to go to the other courthouse. So I don't know if that's any more questions, but we got another hearing to go.
Are you nervous or do you feel cool?
Nah, I ain't never nervous. The only thing that's fair to me is God.
I know you did mention what was on the flash drive before. Would you be able to kind of go over that now, or is that something that you can't discuss?
No, we're trying to discuss that now, what we will be able to talk to in terms of what was available and what was on those flash drives.
Okay.
But it was the book,
So it is Kim Porter's book, but not necessarily some of the stuff with the celebs that were mentioned besides.
It's hers. Nobody touched it.
Oh, so it is her official book.
Yes. Nobody.
And no one touched it.
Nobody altered it. Nothing.
So it's not the copy that the gentleman said that he was selling before. No.
No.
It's 2 different copies. That one was edited, and